We've got places to go.
Hi everyone, welcome to day 6 of my 31 days of horror, and today I have been watching Pet Sematary, the 1989 classic. Obviously, as many of you know, it's written by Stephen King and it was directed by Mary Lambert. Now, before I go any further with the review, I will say, guys, that it's going to contain a few spoilers, so if you've not seen Pet Sematary, don't carry on watching this short review. Go and watch it, come back, and then let me know what you thought afterwards. Also, guys, before I continue even further, I have got a special guest. Check this out.
Hi everyone, welcome to this screening of Pet Sematary. My name is Brad Greenquist and I'm in the film. I play Victor Pascow. I hope you enjoy the movie and I wish you all a very happy and safe Halloween.
So guys, that was Brad Greenquist, who plays Victor Pascow in the great and famous now Pet Sematary. He plays the ghost of Victor, who pops in and out of Pet Sematary quite a lot. I'm blown away again by the generosity shown by not just Brad, but by all the other actors who have come forward and helped me with this project. So thank you, Brad, for doing that. I really do appreciate it. And I know the folks at BLEAKHOlt will appreciate it.
What is this place?
I brought you here to bury Alan's cat.
Daddy, is church all right?
Why, Judd?
I had my reasons.
I dreamed he got hit by a car and you and Mr. Crandall buried him in the Pet Sematary.
What did we do tonight, Judd?
What we did, Lois, was a secret.
May the Lord bless you and keep you.
Has anyone ever buried a person up there?
May the Lord make his face to shine upon you.
You're thinking thoughts best not thought of.
Daddy's gonna do something really bad.
You're thinking of putting him up there. Don't deny the thought hadn't crossed your mind.
Come back to me, Gage. Come back to us.
Paramount Pictures presents Stephen King's all-time best-selling tale of horror, Pet Sematary.
So the movie Pet Sematary, it stars Dale Midkiff, who plays Lewis Creed, and also Denise Crosby, who plays Rachel Creed. It also stars Fred Gwynne, who plays Judd Crandall. Now, between these three characters, we hear a tale of this old creepy pet cemetery near to the house where Lewis and Rachel have just recently moved into, along with their young son. And it tells a tale of animals that have been killed on this busy road, as well as a burial ground. There's an Indian burial ground. Now, the film itself, it's a creepy tale from the mind of Stephen King. And as we all know, Stephen King is the master of horror. And I honestly believe Pet Sematary is probably the best book to movie conversion. Others will probably disagree, but I like Pet Sematary for what it is. It's a great spooky little film. It's not a long film, probably about an hour and 20 minutes long. It's not too long, but it's enough. And it does exactly what it should do. It's creepy, it's scary at times. It's got the creepy psycho child towards the end. It's got this spooky tale of reanimation, basically. So the film itself, you know, it does go down those paths. And the film sets off at a nice pace. You know, we've got the new family moved into the new house in the new neighbourhood, and everybody's happy. Judd introduces himself to Lewis and Rachel, and from there, we think everything's not going to be nice and rosy. Unfortunately, it doesn't pan out like that. And it's not long before the young son is killed on the highway. Now, the young son is played by Miko Hughes, and he plays the character Gage Creed. Now, he's only, I think, 4 or 5. He's probably even younger than that. I can never remember his age in this film. But unfortunately, he does get killed in this movie. Lewis turns his eye away from Gage while they're out in the garden playing, and this lorry hits him and it kills him outright. So obviously, you know, Lewis and Rachel and Judd, they're all obviously in despair, they're gutted, they're absolutely torn apart by what's happened. Now, prior to these events, Judd has told Lewis about this tale of this Indian burial ground just slightly above where the Pet Sematary is. And Louis just happens to just say, look, has any humans been buried there and brought back to life? And Judd freaks out, and then he tells him this story of this one time where this child was killed and brought back. But he didn't come back as the same person. He came back as like a soulless no empathy. He basically was just evil. You know, he'd kill his own family, he'd kill everybody. And that's how it goes. So obviously now with Gage being killed by this truck, being knocked over and killed, Lewis is just down in the depths of despair. And what he does, he goes to the graveyard where Gage has been buried, he digs his body up and he takes him to this Indian burial ground. Now throughout this stage we see Victor Pascow, played by Brad Greenquist, who did the intro at the beginning of this review. And he keeps telling Lewis not to go, not to do it. Anyway, he does, he buries Gage, and a couple of hours later, Gage comes back from the dead. Now, like I said, burying people and burying animals in this Indian burial ground, it shouldn't be done. It's not hallowed ground anymore, it's unhallowed, it's evil, it's just not supposed to be used. So Gage comes back. Now, at this time, Rachel has gone to her parents just so they can be on their own and get their heads together with what's happened, you know, with this family tragedy. But again, Victor seems to tell Rachel somehow that all's not well back at home. She's got to get home to save Lewis from doing what he's doing with Gage. Now, obviously, she's at the other side of the country and it takes time to get there. And all this is going on while Lewis is burying Gage. Now, obviously, Gage does come back from this pet cemetery, or from the Indian burial ground, I should say. And doing so, he kills Judd. And the scenes in this film are quite horrific, to be quite honest, because first of all, he brings Judd down using like a scalpel and he slices the back of his tendons on his feet, so he falls down. And as he's on the ground, we see Gage attack Judd with his scalpel. It follows on where Gage then makes his way into the house, into the family house. We see Lewis is fast asleep, but at this point, Rachel turns up. Now, when Rachel turns up, she sees Gage for who he is. She sees this little boy who she once loved and he's now come back. And obviously, she's in total turmoil at this point and she doesn't really know what's going on. So she goes to comfort Gage, but obviously he kills his own mother. And then the movie goes to the following day and we see Lewis, he finds Rachel, she's been killed, he knows Gage has done it. But what he does, he injects Gage with some kind of chemical which obviously puts him to sleep, a bit like you would if you're a vet with an animal. It puts Gage to sleep. And it's quite ironic really, because when you think about it, it's Pet Sematary, it's all about pets. And if pets are in a lot of pain and they're suffering, we usually put them down with an injection. This is what he does with Gage. He seems to put him down. But what he does then, he goes one step further. He takes the dead body of his wife, Rachel, and he does the same. He takes her back through the Pet Sematary, up to the Indian burial ground, and then obviously you know what's coming next, guys. She comes back as some kind of reanimated corpse. And that's basically where the film ends. Now, it's a quick review, guys. A lot of spoilers in there, but I've only touched upon it briefly because there's a lot more to it. The cinematography in this film, especially when it shows the Pet Sematary itself, it's really creepy, but it's the sound in this film that carries the film forward for me. There's a lot of ambient noises in the background. We hear birds screeching, owls screeching. We hear the creaking and the croaking of the trees in the forest when they're going up towards the Pet Sematary and when they're going up to the burial ground. We obviously see the sadness when Gage gets killed by the truck, and I always squirm at that scene. When the truck's bombing down the road and we see Gage running into it, I always have to turn away at that point. Whether or not it's because it's a young child that's involved, I don't know. But I do find it unsettling, and that's the powerful way the film comes across. It is a powerful moment, but that's Stephen King for you. He doesn't hold back with his stories. He tells us exactly what he wants us to see and hear, and it works really well in Pet Sematary. Now, as I said, guys, Pet Sematary is my favourite, possibly my favourite Stephen King book to film conversion. I'm not saying it's exactly like the books, but it's a good film. It really is a damn good film, and it's one I do enjoy highly. So guys, if you've seen Pet Sematary, comment down below. If you haven't, go and see it and then comment down below if you've already watched this review. Now obviously, like I said, there's a lot of spoilers, but you will love it, guys. You will love Pet Sematary. It's an old one, it's 1989, so it does go back a few years now. Some of the CGI in it or the SFX in it, they might seem a bit dated now compared to what we see and hear nowadays. But fingers crossed, if we're going to talk about reboots and remakes, fingers crossed they don't remake Pet Sematary. I have heard rumours that they're going to do. I just hope to God it doesn't come off, because Pet Sematary, it should be in its own era. It should stay where it is in 1989. It's a brilliant 1980s horror movie. and it does everything that a horror movie should do for that period. So guys, if you like this video, comment down below. As you know guys, I'm doing these 31 days of horror movie reviews for BLEAKHOLT Animal Sanctuary, trying to raise a few quid for them. If you can dip your hands in your pockets, because donations have been a bit slow, I'm not going to lie to you guys, they have been a bit slow. If you can donate, get your hands in your pockets, just a couple of quid each, that's all I'm asking for, not breaking the bank. BLEAKHOLT would appreciate it. There's a lot of food, there's a lot of maintenance, a lot of wages, there's all kinds of things that need paying. They do a terrific job guys, they do a tremendous job, so please donate if you can. All the links are down below, you can't miss them. In the meantime guys, hope you like this video. Stay tuned for day 7 tomorrow. I think, and I should have, well I definitely have, got another guest. Depends how we jig these movies around, because basically guys, I've got a special guest every other day for the remainder of the month who have lined up to do videos. On some days I've got an extra guest or two, so you might have 2 or 3 days where these guests appear, and then you might have a day without, if that makes sense. So stay tuned guys, and thanks a lot for watching, and in the meantime, take care and look after yourselves.